All right, so welcome to the Where My Dad's At podcast, episode 1 of season 3, officially kicking off. We right back here by the pool. We got some kids here.
Oh God, yeah.
We got our sons here today. At least
my son.
Yeah, 2 of the 3.
Go with this.
Yeah. He trying to get some camera shine, and I get it. I understand. It's been a while, man. I see you got a boot on your foot.
Yeah,
and
this is from an injury that happened in my bedroom, man. My bed frame.
It's nothing like that.
No, not like that. But it was the bed frame, man. You know, just I hit my toe and it bent backwards, and it kind of damaged a couple of my ligaments, man. And if people know out there, breaking a bone is better than damage your ligaments, man.
Right.
So whoever's out there, man, that has the same issue, man, I commend you.
Right. I can speak to the ligament thing. I tore my Achilles tendon, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
It's the worst. Like I try to tell you, man. Like when I hit my toe that day, I got up. I was gonna walk it off when I went to work. I walk around the building, doing my inspections and all of that. I'm like, all right, man, it's a little pain. Like it's whatever. But the next day, when I got up from my bed and put my foot down, my whole body just collapsed on the floor. Like, oh my God, like what's going on? And that tells you, man, I'm getting close to 40. So my body pretty much telling me like I should have set my butt down and took care of what I need to take care of, man. So now me getting older, man, I definitely have to listen more to my body, man. So I commend everybody that's over 40.
Right.
You know, I'm about to join this club, but I'm gonna listen to my body more often.
Right, for sure. We got to listen to our body, and just like as the podcast progresses, you get to see us age. It is crazy. So we'll be able to look back on this and remember.
It's getting there. Look, man, I got the gray hairs popping in, man. I used to use tweezers. Now I look in the mirror, I'm like, you know what? Just let it rock, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let it rock, man.
Yeah. I remember always thinking that about like you and your brothers too. Like, man, they beards is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, you see, I embraced it. I fully embraced it.
By next year, probably this thing pretty much almost white, but it just don't make no sense, man. It go by and plus, like people who dye their hair, I'm like, I commend you, but me, I'm like, I'm not gonna dye my hair, man. Like if I'm supposed to be this way,
right,
I'm supposed to be this way. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, I think I thought about it like once or twice, and it was really as I started to try to do things in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like I started to think, well, it's going to be harder for me if I'm older to gain an audience for some reason, forgetting that there's people who are age, right?
Yeah.
And there's even people younger and older that still can relate. So, the Where My Dad's At podcast, Where My Dads Get Old podcast, where we get injuries from stubbing our toe. And I you know that I had a toe related injury as well. I dropped a frozen turkey on my toe. That's for another episode if you haven't heard it yet. And you don't bounce back as quick.
Man, you don't.
But as the body does this, and that doesn't mean you still can't be active. And that's one thing I have to keep reminding myself. I need to be just as active, but just maybe change up what I'm doing. Like I can't go out there and play tackle football.
No.
You know what I mean? on the gravel lot or whatever, like I used to. But, I can do other things and remain active. I got a chance to go camping this past weekend.
Oh, that must be
interesting. And, I'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, just staying active and embracing getting older if you can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard.
That's been hard for me because even, me having the boot on my foot, I like the doctor told me, you gotta have that foot propped up, man. Like, I'm in my office, whatever, and I'm not a type of person, whoever knows me, I'm not the type of person that sits in one spot.
Right. You're moving all the time. Yeah.
I'm moving around the building.
This is the longest I've ever seen you sit down.
Right. Man, I'm bouncing here and there and there.
Right.
Within the second day me had this boot on, my feet swole up like a water balloon.
Are you kidding me?
Oh man, like what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I went to make an appointment with my doctor the next day. He said, "What did you do?" I said, "Well, I did this and did that." Yeah, and I walked. He said, "You was walking?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because I have, I'm the manager, man.
I got stuff to do.
I got stuff I got to do." And he was like, "No." He said, "Look, your foot is never going to heal correctly if you don't sit down and do what you're supposed to do."
Right.
So, I had sit back, like, you know what, Marco? You're knocking on 40, like you're literally there. Like, sit back, follow direction, don't move.
Right.
Let this foot let this foot heal.
Right.
And I did that. It was hard. I mean, I have dreams of me working out in the weight room.
For real?
And running with my boot on. No lie. And I'm like, I get up, I'm like,
Isn't that
man.
crazy how your mind works?
Yeah, and I'm like, man, this is it's a false dream. Like I wasn't working out. But yeah, man. But at the same time, it's healthy because my mind is telling me, like, look, you can do these things,
right?
But your body's not catching up with it. Like, you know, I'm like, all right, I get it,
right?
So gradually, when I get older and older, my mind's gonna be telling me to push it, but I gotta be like, hey, look, let's take 100 off this barbell, whatever. Let's be realistic, man. Like, you know, your body's gonna feel it,
right?
You know, and I get it now. I see these, you know, at least my mind telling me that, because a lot of people just give up with the mind and body, but like, hey, like, my mind tell me this, your body do this, and then all of a sudden it just relapse and it just goes downhill. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely not going to be me. So yeah, I commend everybody over the age of 40 that's still pushing it, whatever, man.
Right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, you know, I'm 46, so I done waved high to that 40 mark and said, you know what I'm saying? And I'm waving at the 50 mark. So just trying to remind myself the same thing that you're talking about. And again, just find new ways to stay active physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. So it's an ongoing process. Here at the Where My Dad's At podcast, we definitely going to try to encourage each other. Help anybody who's listening out there that may be going through the same thing. You know, especially like our peers and people at the same walk of life where we're at the same place of life, you know.
And I also want to say this too, and I can say this now because I'm at that age front now.
Right.
A lot of us Black males, and I'm seeing it, and I'm going to say this right now on the podcast, do not want to go see a therapist.
Right.
I just started seeing a therapist 2 months ago.
Right.
It's beneficial.
That's good.
It's healthy.
Right.
And it's something not almost, is what you need as seeing a doctor, a dentist, an eye therapist, man.
Right.
Please, go get one. It's beneficial to me.
Right.
I found out things that I thought I didn't have that I do have. And I'm like, man, like, this is something I should have did a long, long time ago. But us Black males, we think we can handle the situation. We can do this, whatever. Again, the more I'm getting older, I'm like, man, this should have been done when I was in my my 20s, early 20s.
Very true.
And I'm like, man, you know, but I took that step, you know. I'm like, so right now I commend and I encourage everybody that's in my age group or younger, if you think you need it, please, man, just go see it, man. Your mind it's a machine and it needs to be worked on. Sometimes it breaks down. Sometimes he works on it. Let's go work on it, man.
I'm glad you said that too. And if there are any, have you heard of BetterHelp?
I did.
You ever heard of BetterHelp? Yeah. Okay, so BetterHelp is like one of those things that make it a little bit easier maybe for some people to do it because they'll do video, do it over the phone, different things like that, email, chat, text. So I think something like BetterHelp, we don't have a sponsorship yet from them. I know a lot of podcasts do have sponsorships from places like and any other services out there that are out there to promote mental health and health in general and just building up and being the best you can be. So if anybody's out there, they hear this podcast and they want to help us take this podcast to the next level with a sponsorship, feel free, contact us at valuableminds@gmail.com. That's one of the email addresses you can hit us up at. But yeah, that mental health piece is big. I'm glad you said that. I was fortunate. It's crazy because I was fortunate and unfortunate, right? I went through something at a young age, 7, 8 years old, right? And after that, my mother knew that I needed to talk to somebody, right? So, and we could talk about it on another episode. It's not something I'm ashamed of at all. But she took me to a child psychologist or somebody to help me therapist wise.
Right.
And so I was introduced to it at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone away from it and come back to it, but I definitely realized the importance. And now at my age, I realize the necessity of it. Like, it's really important. And I also realized too, we always talk about like physical health, and that's something that we know as Black men, we struggle with too.
Yeah.
We struggle with something's been hurting us for a year, and somebody say, you need to go get that looked at. And it's so obviously that's something that you can see the signs of and physically feel, right? Yeah. Mental, we don't look at that the same way, because even if we feel bad, even if our emotions make us feel bad physically, we hide it, right? No, we don't want nobody to think we're weak.
For sure. Yeah.
We don't want anybody to see any kind of vulnerability. Yeah. So we walk around like it never happens, and we ruin our lives, and we ruin the lives of people around us that we care about. Yeah. And then we can't be an example for our kids or anybody else if we're struggling with something and we don't get help.
Yeah, we can't. We
can't tell nobody else, hey, you dealing with that. Why don't you go see somebody when we're dealing with stuff and we don't go?
Yeah, I can't be the type of person to tell you that if I can't do my own situation, man.
Yeah, they got a word for that. It's called hypocrite, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I 100% agree on that one.
Yeah. So that's good that you said that. And what a lot of people don't understand either, and you have to learn more about this. I'm 46, so I've learned a little bit. Yeah. Is that your brain is an organ.
Yeah. Oh my God! I'm so glad you said that.
If your liver had something chemically wrong with it, you wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm ashamed of this." You go get some help for your liver disease or whatever it is. Yeah. Your brain is the same way.
It's the same, and I'm glad you said that, because my therapist said the same thing. And I'm sitting there like, "Wow, man, my brain pretty much been damaged for years." And he was saying like, because and then she's I'm not gonna say the name, but she's a Black counselor. She said she was like, I'm glad that you did, because a lot of Black men still think to this day, and they're in their 60s, like, they're old school. I got this. I'll handle it my own way. Right. Our first step is to come to that room. I mean, believe me walk to that room, I was like a little boy going to a doctor's office. I'm about to get a shot. Right. I'm like, oh my God,
it was scary.
I was scared. Right. I'll tell you about hours.
You almost rather get a shot, wouldn't you?
I'd rather get a shot.
Can you just remove this problem I'm having? Right. Can I get an operation to remove it?
Man, Will, the question she asked me, and I'll say it right here. She asked me, the first question was, who is Marco? Right. And I'm telling her, she was like, no. I'm like, man, I'm gonna give her wrong answer. She was like, because I'm
how you know who I am?
Yeah, I'm like, how you know who I am?
You weren't getting deep.
And I wasn't getting deep with her or whatever, And then she was like, what do Marco want? Right. And I'm telling her, and she was so like, no. I'm gonna give her the wrong answer. I don't know. Right. I'm not gonna get here and get too deep with it, but I'm telling her this and that.
I get it.
And she was like, no.
You safe. You being safe right now. You're safe,
right. And she, she was saying to me, like, you need to really think about this, because at the end of the day, I understand you have this, you got that, but what do you want? Right. And who are you? Right. It's going to display your life and how you're going to go within this lifestyle. Right. And I'm like, man, she's like, you're right. I never sat down and been like, what do I want? Right. And who am I? I mean, I think I told her that I'm a manager at
yeah. You told her all the stuff that the world sees.
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. And she was saying like, "No, that's not what I want."
All the safe stuff.
Right. And I'm sitting there like a little boy. I'm about to break out in tears. I'm telling you. She was like, "No, you're not giving me the answer."
That's how you know you holding back something, and there's something that needs to be dealt with.
That's what she said.
Yeah. That's how you know.
She said. And I was
that's how you know, because you like, I never really. Like, I definitely never had another person ask me this question, and if I think about it myself, I don't deal with it. I go to the next thing. I push it to the side.
I didn't know the answers, man. I really didn't know the answers.
No, we don't.
I don't. And she said, that's okay. Right. And she gave me homework assignments every 2 days.
Yeah, man.
I do homework assignments, whatever. I go back to her. Yeah. I get better within time. Right. But, she definitely was like, you're making progress. Right. You're getting better. But I want the answer that I see. She sees in me that I don't see in myself. Right. I mean, she follows. I told her about our podcast. She followed our podcast.
She followed nice.
She was like, yeah, I see that's real good with her. I see that you're happy, this and that. But what's this? And I'm like, man, woman, I give you this and that. And she was like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. And I'm like, to this day, I'm still searching for who am I?
Right.
And what I want in this lifestyle.
Right.
So it's a homework assignment for me.
Right.
And I'm still working on it.
Good. Definitely turn that homework assignment in. Keep working on it. And even if it's one that you work on for the rest of your life, keep working on it.
Yeah, most definitely.
If I want to get right back to what you were saying, and I know we had some planned topics, but sometimes topics just come to us, and that means that God, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. So, not to get too deep into it, but I do want to revisit the homework assignment part.
Okay.
Because back to BetterHelp, I might have to hashtag like BetterHelp and send this to them because we're gonna get a sponsorship from somebody. But I was seeing a therapist using BetterHelp through the BetterHelp service.
Yeah.
And the first time I did a session with her, she gave me a homework assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the homework assignment was?
What was that?
She said she wanted me to write a letter to my father.
I got chills. It's cold outside, but I got more chills on my back, man.
She wanted me to write a letter to my father. So guess what, though? So that was one thing in itself.
Yeah.
But if you go back and if you listen to one of the early episodes, I don't know if it was season 1 or 2. It's probably 1.
Okay. Look back.
It's titled "A Letter to My Father from My Children." Okay. So if you go back and get a chance, if you haven't, people out there, if you're listening, and it was a homework assignment that I took and I did for me,
right? But
then I utilized it for raising my kids. So what I did was the letter I wrote to my father, I said, what if 20, 30 years from now, my kids are writing a letter about me? Yeah. What do I want to be in that letter? Yeah. What do I want them to say in that letter? Yeah. How do I want to be? How do I want them to describe me? And what things do I want them to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Dad was this, and this. And Dad, you know what I'm saying? So what that did is that instead of just living like, okay, I got to be a disciplinarian. I'm frustrated. I got stress. I got different things. And I'm dealing with the kids as if they're just another thing. I started dealing with the kids like, okay, I'm going to have to answer to what I'm doing now. I'm going to have to deal with them and how it affected them in 20 years from now. Yeah. And so it put a flashlight on and shed perspective on something that I don't think we think about a lot of times. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I want? And then we did a thing at the camping trip where it was like, what do you want them to say about you at your funeral? And it's kind of along the same lines, right? What is your legacy? I did an episode on legacy too, if you haven't listened to that one, where I talked about my aunt, who was like the strong woman in the military. Mm-hmm. She broke all these barriers down in the military. And to me, like, out of the legacies of all the people I know, not just my family and my friends, but out of legacies of all the human beings I know, her legacy was right up there. Nice. Because for me, like, and I went to stay with her. I was fortunate enough to go to stay with her. And I experienced some of that military like lifestyle because she put me kind of through boot camp. We joke around now to this day that it was boot camp for me. Yeah. But to this day, I'm proud to say I went through that, and I'm glad she was the person she was. Yeah. You know, and then to learn so much more about her later on was just amazing to me. So legacy, homework assignments that we need to do. Yeah. They're valuable, and it's easy to go through life your whole life and never give no thought to some of this stuff. Yeah. Man. But it's so important. It's so important. It is, man. That homework assignment is important, man. And to this day, I'm still doing mine. I don't know if you ever had to do with yours. I know my therapist says, when I get angry, right? When I get really, really angry, I need to write in this notebook. And I'm like, really? Wow. And she was like, no, I want. And every time you come see me, I want to read. I want you to read it. Right. And I'm, and when I get angry, I'm like, and then I go sit there. There's one time, you do it, and I do it. Right. It was funny. My son was. You do it on a regular basis? I do. Okay. I do, and it's funny because my son sitting there. He's like, hey, what are you angry about, Dad? I'm writing in my bedroom like real hard. He was like, you angry, ain't you? I'm like, I am. I'm writing it down. He was like, and I remember one time it kind of touched me like, Dad, I'm proud of you. Because versus me vocaling it, I just take the pen and I put it in the paper. Because he knows in the past, when I get angry, I kind of burst out and I vocalize it. Right. But then now I just grab my book and I'll go to my bedroom, the corner, whatever, or the patio, and I'm just jotting it down real hard. And he was like,
I'm proud. And I was
Are you
like,
kidding
and
me,
then I
man?
stopped wrote something and I sucked in a tear. I was like, all right, okay, cool. So that
Are you
right there teaches
kidding
me a
me?
lot, that take the time to prevent that anger and put it on paper. He was just saying that, when the situation happened and
Right.
I was getting upset, and he was like, "Dad, I'm very proud of you, just because, he said in the past I seen you yell and this and
Right.
that. And now you just write in your notebook." And I'm
Right.
like, "Yeah, man." I'm like,
Right.
this notebook right here, I at least filled it up with at least 15 pages already. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as a black man, we get told that we're angry black men because we express ourselves out loud and stuff like that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Let's limit it. Let's put it on pages, man. Put
Right.
it on pages. Let people, like, let that therapist figure it out, because
Right.
it's, to this day I'm still working on it,
Right.
but it got better.
Right.
Will say I am getting better with the
Good.
situation. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, man. That's really, really powerful. And it's you may not ever fully realize it, but one day he's gonna have his kids.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be a better father, husband,
Mm-hmm.
man, because he watched his dad put effort into being a better man.
Yeah.
He saw you handle something like anger, which is probably one of the most destructive things we have as men, right? Our anger.
Mm-hmm.
And he watched you do something that's like constructive with it. And a lot of times when we're angry and we want to outburst, it's just because we don't know what else to do, right? We're confused. By writing your stuff down, you get to kind of see it and process it and work through it.
Yeah.
Versus in the moment reacting.
I think for us, because we've seen it a lot growing up. It could be from uncles, whatever you see.
The world,
you see it, right? And then you thinking that's the way you have to express yourself, right? And I'm like, I think it got more clicking with me when I had Mark, and I see somebody looking at me, with a small eyes, and be like, "Oh my God, like, what's wrong with Daddy? Like, why is he acting like that?
Right.
That made me part two to go see a therapist. I'm like, I'm like, all right, like, I don't need my son looking at me.
You
like,
got to be better for your son.
I got to be better for my son. You know what I mean? Because I don't want him to carry on the disease.
No, that's what it is too.
It's a disease.
It's a disease.
It's a disease. Like you said, your brain's an organ, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want my son to be looking at it like, when he gets older, but like, well, I'm expressing myself by raising my vocals real high, think that the point will get across. And it's not. It just makes more confusion.
No, because that becomes the problem at that point.
Right.
Like whatever the issue was,
right.
You're not even dealing with it no more. Somebody spilled something. You're like, Now you're dealing with you being upset about what they did versus, all right, how can we keep this from happening, or how can we deal with this? Right. Now it's, you're scaring me, or you're making me angry, or I don't want to deal with you when you like that, or whatever.
Right. And this is a disease that was carried way before me. Whatever, we know, I'm not gonna get into too deep with it, whatever. But me, especially my therapist, whatever. This was handled down generation ago. It just kind of, I think, how she was telling me, because as I was told to myself, whatever. I think I'm the first person to kind of step in and put a boot on. Wow. Let's stop this right here.
Break the cycle.
Let's break the cycle right now. And that's why she's kind of taking it hard on me.
Right.
Because it's kind of like, you're the first person, as me telling her, was told to me, and I'm telling her, like, I'm kind of the first person to go see a therapist, whatever. And she was like, all right, well, don't take it offensive. I'm going to be extra hard on me, because you might be that person that stops this from the generation. Because for me, it rolls on to Marco, right? Marco might be the person who like, well, I saw my dad do this.
Right.
I'm going to do it like that. I never seen my dad, you know what I mean? Even if he did, I remember him writing in his book when he got son or daughter, whatever he has.
Yeah.
You feel some type of way, I want you to write your emotions down, whatever. You know what I mean? Or I don't raise my voice. I might be like, look, let's take it a different direction.
Right.
Because in the past, whatever, I think a lot of black males and black females in the past, you've seen it. It's always a high pitch. You better do this or do that or whatever. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
because I told you to. You do it because I said so.
I said so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, if you come in here and you bring this and that in my house, like this, a C or I guarantee it. You know what I mean? It put the fear in a lot of black males and females.
Trauma. That's trauma,
but
man.
that carried on from their generation, what their parents told them. Right. And it kind of carry on. So I don't blame nobody. You know what I mean? I don't. It's no. And I told my therapist that it's not.
That's not what it's
I don't
about.
want to put a blame on it. Whatever.
That's not what it's about.
Right. And she said, and she was like, "Oh, I agree." Like Marco, like you're perfectly fine. Like I just told her in my segment that I just don't want my son to have this one thing that I had to carry on with his generation and rolls on. And I remember she got up, and that's the first time I kind of cried and gave me a hug. Said, "Your first step was coming in here and telling me this and doing this," because a lot of black males don't do it because they think and we do not have it, fellas. We do not have it, man. Do not be afraid to take that step and ask.
Man, you hitting on so many words, man.
Yeah, ask for help, man.
Anger, afraid, like you hitting on so many words.
Ask for help. Ask for help, and I did.
Good.
And believe me, it took a lot.
Right.
A lot of energy for me to get on my phone, to Google a therapist, to see the background.
I know.
To that person calling me back,
to
like, we gonna book you, you know what I mean? It was like, for me, it was like me going to surgery, having having wisdom teeth taken out. That was for me. Like, I'm walking up the steps for days, and I'm like, man, like, and me sitting there, I'm thinking like on the TV, you gotta sit in the chair and lean back. She's telling me you can sit on the couch, the floor,
right.
You do whatever comfortable you are. I'm like, all right. So me, I'm coming on the couch, I'm sitting back, lean back, chilling. She said, "You comfortable like that?" I'm like, "Yeah." She said, "All right, well, let's get into it.
Let's do it." Yeah,
man.
You hit on so many important things, man. If we stop the episode right here, you have dropped enough gems. We have given enough encouragement to save lives, man. And I'm not saying that like
I hope so,
on some overblowing it or whatever. No, this is life-saving stuff that we're talking about here. Doing work. Yeah. Now, when you had that moment where she gave you the hug and you're going through this process and you're making this, did she ever use the B word?
The B word?
Did she ever use the B word?
I'm thinking of a lot of
B word, right. Yeah, not that B word.
No, not that B word. But
did she ever talk about how you were making breakthroughs?
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So like those moments where you finally like, or like a light goes off, or you feel like this weight.
I accomplished something.
You accomplished something. So as a trainer, you know about breakthroughs, like personal best or stuff like that. Like, so that's what you talk about. It's the same type of thing.
My first breakthrough was my first day because she seen me and I expressed it.
Right.
And she said, as her being an African female, she said, like, brother, I commend you for walking in here and expressing this right here, because it's hard. I know it's hard for you, because she could tell that I'm man enough to say this. I was holding back tears.
I know.
You hold back tears. You can hold back tears all you want.
Yeah.
When your eyeballs get red. She knows it. She looked at me.
Yeah.
And she grabbed my hand.
You ain't had the shades on. You were kind of like.
I said, "Oh, she knows what she's doing." She said, "It's okay."
Right.
When she said it's okay, I was like, "Oh, you did it to me."
Yeah.
Like, the tears kept running down.
So why you have to do that?
I'm like, why you gotta do that to me? And she was like, let it out. And I'm like, oh God, like when I did that, I felt good. I'm like, man, I think I've been holding this in for like years. She looked at me and she was kind of like, she knew that I've been holding this and this is what you needed.
Right.
Because I told her, when she said this is a safe spot, I told her everything from A to Z, what was going on in my life, from when it was wrong, to when I think it was wrong, to when I think it was right. You know, and she was just like, she just sat there for that hour, maybe an hour and 10. I went over my time, but she just, I guess when you're in therapy or whatever, they want to stop you from,
they let you go. Yeah.
And I just kept going, man. I was just like, oh God, man. Like, I think every man, I'm not gonna say black, every man or every woman if you think you need it mental wise, like please, like go seek it.
Okay.
Go seek it. I seeked it. I'm still seeking it.
Right.
I might still be seeking it for months, maybe to a
Right.
year,
Right.
more than a year. But
Right.
For me, it's kind of like I have to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
I gotta go to my doctor's appointment.
Right.
I gotta go to my mind appointment. If I don't go, she'll email me, but like, Mr. Barnes, you missed your. I recommend.
Right.
And I want to tell you,
right,
you need to come. I'm like, okay, because she knows that I'm not done yet. She knows that I have a lot of work I got to do.
No, it never ends.
It never ends.
As long as you continue to live and think,
yeah,
and have experiences and be a human being,
yeah,
you can benefit from that. And it's very much like we were talking about staying active physically. You can speak to it as a trainer, elite trainer, that, you know, if you got an injury to your toe.
Yeah.
So you know that on that leg, there are going to be certain muscles and certain things that when you get back to full, you're going to have to make sure and maintain that, right?
Yeah.
Right? And so it's the same thing. It's like, I don't think we ever get to a point where it's like, all right, I'm done. I don't think anybody like that exists in the world where it's like, oh, I have no reason to benefit. Not only are you dealing with your experiences and the things you're going through, but you got a kid, you've got a wife, you've got family.
Yeah.
So you also, in trying to be there for them, you can get work. You know what I'm saying? You can benefit from somebody helping you so that you can go and now help them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit generations through this podcast. Now, just people seeing you. It's going to benefit. And so that was something, like I said, early on.
and this wasn't even scheduled.
This was scheduled. Yeah.
We had a script.
Wow. So, we might have to break this up into two different podcasts.
Because it can go on. Because I don't know what happened. I guess God got me, so you better let it out now, baby.
Yeah, no, that's how it works. That's how it works. I'm telling you.
I'm just telling the truth, whatever. Yeah, it wasn't scheduled, but I think it's something that needs, because again, we don't talk more about our mental health, man.
Right?
And
no, we don't.
We need to talk about more on it.
We don't. And you made a good point about saying in our community, it's definitely even less of a thing. Like there's so many different stigmas and so many different, like, so much shame and so many different things behind, you know, needing therapy or seeking seeking help in general. Nobody even wants to say they need help with stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, when it comes to some of our deepest, darkest stuff, we're not going to put it out there that we need help. At 46, I don't care anymore. Yeah. Like at 46 right now, I spilled my heart out to you because I know it's going to benefit me from a selfish perspective. Yeah. But talking to you, you may not even say it to me, but you might say, oh, man, I go through that too. Yeah. And just talking to Will about it, like, I'm not by myself. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or Will was okay sharing that with me, so I'm okay sharing something with somebody. Or I'm okay if I'm talking to somebody else and they want to share with me, I can see the importance of somebody sharing and just having, you know, just doing that work, man. Doing that work. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm glad we talked about that. I'm
glad too, man.
Like I said, we can probably split this into another episode.
Gonna have to, man, because this can be a documentary if you wanted to.
Yeah.